And I want to say it was either the first preseason game or the second. Jimmer Fredette went, I think he made all of his shots. He went four for four. And then he was so hesitant to shoot another shot because he was
Why?
it seemed like he was afraid of missing, like he wanted to stay perfect.
Oh, that's not good at all.
That is not good at all.
You gotta keep the hot hand going. That's a horrible attitude.
Yo, welcome into the Seventh Man Up podcast. I'm your host, Alex Burleson, and I got my guy, Thomas Austifjord. If you want to go in and introduce yourself, just like I said here, how did I do with the last name?
Oh, you did great. You did great, Alex. And I appreciate you having me on the podcast. I've been
Yeah,
watching for a while and seeing like all the effort you're putting in. So many podcasts, they don't last because people just give up. And I see you grinding, releasing content, and just doing what you do. So I really appreciate you having me on here.
yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, and I know with us, what really clicked is the common interest in basketball. So tell me a little bit about your background with basketball.
Oh yeah, of course. So basketball has always been a part of my life. My dad actually met my mom because he was playing basketball over in Australia overseas.
That's cool.
And so he's always wanted me to play. So I've played growing up since I was like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And then played in middle school, high school. I played in college, played at a junior college in California, and then a NAIA school over in Montana. We did
Okay.
make it to the NAIA national championship my junior year.
Yeah.
So I'd like to say we were pretty good, but yeah, I've been playing for a while all throughout my life. So I feel like I got a good knowledge of the game.
Well, that's awesome right there. Good stuff. Did your teams ever play in March Madness?
No, 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 no. So junior college at Yuba, we did make it to the Elite Eight in the junior college level
Okay.
both years I was there. And then Carroll College NAIA. So we played in the
I see.
national championship for the NAIA schools.
Okay. See,
Yeah.
that's something I didn't know right there. That's awesome stuff right there. Yeah,
Yeah, it was a good
and
time.
yeah, that's cool. For me, I never played college. My gosh. I wish I did. I only played up to high school.
Still, lots of people don't even play in high school. So, I mean, that's an accomplishment of its own.
Yeah. What was your team growing up?
Growing up, like in the NBA, I was always a Kings fan, from Sacramento.
Yeah.
So, always rooting them on. Been there with, Mike Bibby and, Chris Webber, Stojakovic,
Yeah.
all of them. But as of late, it's been a little bit tough to be a Kings fan just because I don't really agree with the managing of the team. I've been a little disappointed in them, but always got to stay loyal to your hometown.
That's true. Same here. I've been kind of disappointed like with the ownership.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know what we're doing. It's like we're getting all these old players, and you either got to try and win or you got to try and rebuild. And
Yeah. We're
it's
like
just
in the
we're not in no
limbo.
man's land. We're
Yeah.
doing nothing. We're not closing out on the three. We're not protecting the paint. We're just standing in the middle doing nothing.
Yeah. And ever since I can remember, even before the three was really popular and how it's being played today in the NBA, I feel the Kings have always sucked at guarding the three.
Our defense hasn't really been a strong point as of late. That's for sure. We did have
No.
some great offense, with Mike Brown.
Yeah.
I don't know
No,
why
we
we got
did.
rid of him, but our defense has never been a real strong point for us, unfortunately,
Yeah.
especially since defense wins championships.
Yeah. You hear that saying all the time. And even with that Light the Beam inaugural season that we had, like we were outscoring teams. And
Yeah.
it's like, where was the defense? Like, remember that game against the Clippers where it went into what, double overtime? And what was the score? Oh, we won 175 to
Oh,
174.
yeah. It's crazy when you think about how high of a
Yeah,
scoring game that was. And I really like the whole light the beam. Like, I feel like that's really painted a positive light in the Kings, been able to kind of
for sure.
revamp
Yeah.
the fans, get them behind something. Like, you don't even have to be at the game. You can just see it up in the sky. It's like, hey, the Kings won.
Yeah, no, that's so true. I remember last year I was with some friends. I want to say we went to Dixon and the Kings were playing that night and I was like I've recorded every game so I'm like no spoilers, no spoilers. And then
And then you saw it.
my friend from the driver's seat, she's like, "Look to your left, you can see the beam." And I'm like, "Dang it."
Oh, there's the biggest spoiler ever.
I know.
That's a good spoiler.
I still watch the game because sometimes you want to see how they did it.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Who was your favorite player growing up? Like, was there a guy, even not just on the Kings, but overall NBA that stood out to you?
Overall NBA that stood out to me. I mean, something that I think is really impressive, Dirk Nowitzki, when he was able to do that run that he did, beating all those superstars.
Yeah.
Like, he was going up against super teams.
Yeah.
And it's just really impressive. You know, he's also kind of taller. He's European. So I see a little similarities in my dad's game. My dad's like 6'7", 6'8", so he's also
Yeah.
pretty tall. Has a bit of like a
Yeah. You're
mid-range
pretty
game.
tall. Yeah.
I'm not that. If I was a little taller, maybe I would have been in March Madness.
What? How tall are you?
I'm only about like 6'2", maybe 6'3" with shoes on. So a
Okay.
little undersized if I was gonna play a post position.
Yeah. 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 But there's a lot of undersized bigs now in the NBA that can shoot.
Yeah, yeah, shooting definitely helps change things because with the NBA too, how extended out the 3-point line is, if you're able
Yeah.
to shoot and you have to draw the defending bigs away from the rim and just open up the driving lanes, that helps extra like so much.
Even like that reminds me of even though he's had injury problems throughout his career, a great example of that is Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah, yeah, he was very what's the word? He had a lot of potential.
Yeah,
He's so tall, can be a great shooter. And I feel like he's a little underperformed. You're right with the injuries, but he did
yeah.
have a great stint with the Celtics too.
I still remember. I keep forgetting what game of the finals it was, but I think it was the year that they went up against the Warriors, where the Warriors won in I think 2022. I forget what game it was, but he like went off in the first half. He was like hitting every shot and like
You can't contest him. He's too
oh
tall.
and when a guy like that is on fire, he's basically hitting everything he puts up, no matter the defense.
Yeah, like maybe you need a Wemby on him to potentially,
Yeah,
put a hand in his face, but otherwise he's just shooting over the top of you, which if he's hitting, can't really do much.
very true. Yeah, a Wemby or even a Giannis.
Yeah, yeah. Giannis is a great defender.
Yeah, he's great and he uses his length, which is really good. I feel a lot of players don't use their length to the advantage of what defense can do.
I think length is super important. Like, well, here's a hot take for you.
All right, yeah.
What do you think of a team where the entire starting lineup is, 6'6", 6'7", or taller?
Yeah.
Like, do you think that that's something that could be successful? Do you think coaches should try and pursue the taller players so we can get a more the length to defend? Or are you happy sticking to the traditional roles of maybe like a shorter point guard and kind of working its way up?
I think you can have a balance there. Like what I think the issue there for me thinking wise is that it would get too crowded because of the length. Like know what I
That's a
mean?
good thing on defense.
Yeah, it is a good thing, but talk about like offense. Like say I pass the ball and then another dude thinks it's for him and then he puts his hand out and boom, ball gets tipped because he has that length.
A good point, and
Yeah.
especially if it is all crowded.
Yeah.
But the way that the game is nowadays and the way that the offensive ability of players is evolving,
Mm.
more and more players, even bigs, are able to shoot the ball and space the floor. And I think
The
that's the way
spacing is
that,
huge.
yeah, spacing is huge. So if you're able to space the floor on offense, but also shrink the floor with your length on defense, I
Mm.
think that's a scary combo. And that's the way I think the Kings should go. They should start focusing on length, on size, and on young players and work on rebuilding that way.
I love that, and I think they're maybe starting to do that. I've been a big fan of their new rookie center ever since we saw him in summer league and his highlights from his college, Maxime Reynaud, guy from France. But
What about him was impressive to you?
kind of like what you've been alluding to is his length.
Yeah,
He's he's long and he really uses it to his advantage.
I like that. Now imagine if we had 5 players like that on the floor at the same time.
And speaking of length, this just came into my head, and
Okay.
this is a hot take for me. And I don't know what your thoughts are about this, but dude got a lot of flack while on the Kings, but I don't think we utilized him to his best abilities. I think Alex Len could have been really good if we used him correctly.
That's a hot take because he hasn't really performed. And I
Yeah,
like Alex Len because of his length and his
same.
size. But here's what Alex Len doesn't really have. It's the speed.
Mm,
So that's kind of
I could see that.
the way I was envisioning it would be taller, quicker, which I know is tough. Usually if you're taller, you're not as fast and kind of
Yeah,
trades off. But
yeah.
Alex Len, I think he's just a little too slow for the speed of the NBA. And I think that was the downfall of Len.
Mm. I could see that from him. Like even with his stint on the Lakers, going all throughout Twitter, I saw a lot of Laker fans almost complaining the same as us Kings fans were about Alex Len.
Yeah, and no hate on Alex Len. He's playing
No.
in the NBA, making millions, very
Yeah.
skilled player. Not exactly what we needed. Maybe we did underutilize him, like you said, but that's not necessarily the direction that I think the Kings should be going. I think they need to focus on youth,
Yeah.
on speed, and on length.
I agree. And that's why I said going into next year and maybe the next few seasons, I hope not another 16-year drought.
Yeah, yeah, come
I
on.
know,
I hope not either.
but uh I'm willing to be a part of maybe 2 or 3 35 40 win seasons just to get the product right.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. Do you ever play Clash Royale, Alex?
A little bit.
So kind of similar to like we're in a bad situation in Clash Royale. There's a
Mhm.
push coming down on our left side tower.
Yeah.
We're in a bad situation in the Kings right now. And as opposed to trying to fight the bad situation on the left, we need to build up a push on the right side. Sacrifice the left tower and focus on the future, taking the right tower from the opponent. So that's what I would recommend. I recommend that we do have those losing seasons. We focus on
Yeah.
rebuilding and kind of take it from there.
And I know it'll be tough for us fans. Like, yeah, we're saying it, but in the midst of the season, we're gonna be like, "Ugh, come on."
But at least we have a vision and we have a
Yeah,
plan for the future. Right now, I
yeah,
don't see a plan for the future. So it's even more frustrating because we're like, come on.
yeah.
But I don't even have a hope for the future.
uh, need to whip the Kings with that Jeremiah 29:11.
Get him into shape.
Oh my gosh, yeah, man. Give me another hot take. I love that one.
Another hot take. Okay. I think that the NBA, I believe their viewership's going down.
Yeah, no, no. Okay, speaking of that, I do have another hot take.
Okay.
If you're down for it.
I'm down for it.
And I think, yes, it's a hot take, but I think it's true. I want to say the past 3 years, NBA All Star Weekend has been a dud.
Yeah.
Like the last 3 seasons, not just last year, but I would say the last 3 years. And that's been a part of the viewership going down because I feel even casual NBA fans, they look to All-Star Weekend, they watch the past 3 years and they're like, "Man, this is garbage." And then right after All-Star break, when the season resumes, then those casual fans, that's how the viewership will start to go down.
I think something that the NBA is really missing out on is the dunk competition. I remember
Yeah.
Levine, he was doing some crazy dunks on there. And,
Aaron
Aaron
Gordon.
Gordon.
Yep.
Yeah. Now they have McClung, which he's doing great. He's defending his title. He's
Yeah.
doing impressive dunks. But you don't really associate that with the NBA because he's not playing in the
Yeah,
NBA.
he's a G League player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that they need to have like a certain amount of minutes played before they're
Minutes.
actually
Yeah,
in
there
the
needs to be a
All-Star weekend.
requirement. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
No, I
he's a
agree.
G League player. No one knows about him. I mean, it's impressive to watch, but you don't associate that with the NBA.
Before his first dunk contest, I never even heard of the guy.
Really? I heard about him for a while. He's been dunking for a while now, but
Yeah.
I've seen like different videos on Instagram and whatnot. So I always knew he had hops,
Yeah.
and he was like I think he was pretty popular in like high school even.
That's what I read about him, because
Yeah.
even after that first appearance, I was curious, and so I did my research on him.
Nice. Yeah, I remember seeing him dunk for a while, but I
Yeah.
think they got to add a minimum minutes amount played in the All-Star weekend, and that would help with viewership of the All-Star weekend.
I feel that. Yeah. Know what I feel for the dunk contest the NBA should go back to
What?
is they only did this 1 year, but I thought it was so creative. They had a wheel that each contestant had to spin, and whatever it spun on, I can't remember if it was a style of dunk or if it was like a past legend, and they had to do their own rendition of that dunk or recreating that player's dunk.
Okay. I like that because you got to be aware for all these different things,
Yeah,
and it changes the night of. So you got
very
to be
much
on your
so.
toes.
Yeah.
However, I think that should only be in the first couple rounds. And the reason for that is because I love when players are thinking outside of the box and coming up with
I
new
like that
things.
too.
I can't remember his name, so sorry, player. But I remember during a dunk contest, this guy jumped up. He blew out a cupcake and then he dunked the ball.
Gerald Green.
Now, okay, good. He gets his shout out. Gerald Green, that was one of my favorite dunks ever. And then just because of the originality.
Yeah, that was a creative dunk. I think that was his rookie year. I want to say he was on the Timberwolves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, that was his rookie year. That comes back to my point before. Did he actually play though? Because if we had the minimum minutes requirement, maybe he wouldn't have even been able to be in it. So maybe that isn't a good thing.
See, and that brings me back to how even like when stars that are very much known get interviewed and they're talking about bettering the All-Star game, dunk contest, Saturday night, and then these star players show out in games dunk wise, and then they forego the dunk contest. Like, I don't get that.
Well, they're barely getting anything for the dunk contest. Like the prize
Yeah.
compared to their salary is barely anything. So there's not too much incentive. And especially if you are going late in the season, that's a
Yeah.
good time to rest and recoup your body. So I think that's the reason why we're not really getting too many big name stars. It's just
Mm.
not incentivizing.
Yeah. I feel they should have more of a prize. Like, all they get is that sponsored trophy.
I got a hot take for you.
All right.
And this would kind of change All-Star weekend in a big way.
Okay. I'm all
And
for it.
this would actually incentivize teams to train and to have certain players work on different things for the All-Star weekend. And
Yeah.
it is winning draft capital for your team when you win an event.
Ooh.
So like a certain amount of pick for a certain amount of placement.
Yeah.
And that could also help incentivize these big players to participate because everyone
I
wants
could
to
see
win.
that.
If you're a big player, you want to improve your legacy. You want that
Yeah.
championship ring. Money doesn't really matter to you. And that's why the draft capital, if you win some type of draft pick or whatever it could be, that could incentivize more stars to actually participate.
So they're basically not just doing it for themselves, but they're doing it for the team that they're on. That could actually be very beneficial for teams that, let's face it, there's some teams that go into the NBA season and just from their roster on paper, you can tell they're going to be a bottom team in the league.
Exactly. You're right. So that could give them something to really focus on. I don't want it to be too big, like to really change the league. But we need to make some type
Yeah.
of changes because, Chris Paul and Wemby, they were doing the skills competition. They didn't even participate.
Oh my
They're
gosh.
just throwing the ball. And it's like, that's not what you want to watch.
No. Didn't they get DQ'd?
They did.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. Well, actually, I don't know if it was rightfully so because apparently they asked if you could do that and they got the go ahead. Then they did it and then they got disqualified, which doesn't really sit too well with me if that's really the case.
Yeah, because it's them going back on their word.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Kind of switching topics here. I'll ask you this and then I'll get into my hot take for this is
Okay.
what's your stance on LeBron James' career?
I think LeBron James, due to the success and especially the longevity of his career,
Yeah.
I'm going to say it. I think he's the best player of all time. And I know that could cause a lot of stirs, a lot of Jordan supporters.
Hey,
I think Jordan's great too, but
I'm
you
all
got to give it to
I'm all for
LeBron.
Jordan, but I love LeBron too.
So what would you say? Would you say he's the best?
I actually wrote it here. Let's see if I can get it. Okay, so apart from like talking about best player, my hot take was this is that I think LeBron James is deserving of having his jersey numbered or retired by all the teams that he played for.
Okay. I
Yeah.
like that. Okay, so that would be obviously Cleveland,
Yeah, Cleveland, Miami, and then
Lakers,
the
Miami.
Lakers, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that definitely. I agree. I think that he should have his because he was able to accomplish a lot with each team.
Yeah, and I think if he plays, I need to double check, but I think if he plays this next season all with the Lakers, I think it'll surpass his first tenure with the Cavaliers.
Okay, yeah. I mean, how much longer do you think he'll play?
Man, the amount of money that LeBron James spends on his body, oh my God.
Yeah,
Like, dude's, what was it reported? Like, he spends $1 million on just his body alone
that's crazy.
in like recovery and recuperating, gym like stuff. It's crazy with him.
I mean, your health is your wealth.
That's very true. And he takes that seriously. I applaud him for that.
Also, he has a huge income, and if his body isn't on
Yeah.
point, he loses that income. So I support I support him in his decisions to
Yeah.
do that. And on the other side of it, he has all this money to spend. He doesn't need to keep playing. He
Yeah.
could retire whenever he wants to. He has so much money. But
Yeah.
I think he's just doing it for the love of the game.
You can see that in him. Like,
Yeah.
with so many players that I've seen, like veterans in the game, yeah, you're right. They stick around because yeah, it's wealth right there. It's beneficial for their gain, which nothing wrong with that. But you can kind of tell with how they play, just the love of the game isn't there anymore. But with LeBron James, you can see the love of the game is still there. He's like 41 years old and you see him like joking around and the pickup lines and
He's playing with his son.
he's playing with his
That's a
son.
dream.
Yeah, and then if Bryce has an amazing first year at Arizona and gets drafted, he'll eventually be playing maybe with or maybe against his son at some point in the next 2 seasons if he sticks around that long.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has been saying he's going to be out of the league. He's going to be out of the league. He's going to be out of the league. He's still there. So you can't count him out until he's out.
Very true. Very true.
Bronny was a very uh,
He was
controversial pick.
very controversial.
Who do you think would be more controversial? Bronny's pick or if Bryce did get drafted?
Okay, so this leads me into a hot take of mine. From all the highlights that I've seen of both Bronny and Bryce, I think Bryce has potential to be better than Bronny.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why is that?
First of all, he is taller, and
Like we were talking about.
yeah, and oh my gosh, here's another one that just popped into my head. And if you know college ball, USC is not really known. Yes, they have a good basketball program, but they're more of a football school.
Yeah.
Arizona, the school that Bryce is going to, they're more of a basketball school. So I feel Bryce will be better coming out if he is good enough for the NBA because he's going to be part of a better basketball program.
That makes sense. Yeah. Speaking about college, and also since we're talking about Sacramento Kings,
Yeah.
what about Sac State? Have you been seeing what they've been doing?
They've been picking up a lot of guys through the transfer portal.
They've got a lot of exciting players, but also not just their players. Like they got Shaquille O'Neal over there.
Yep.
They got Mike Bibby. It's going to be interesting. I got high hopes for them.
Me too. I was very surprised. Like I don't follow college ball all that much, but I know of Mikey Williams because of him being like that YouTube basketball guy before he really like took it seriously. And then the whole drama with him and the gun situation almost parallel to Ja Morant.
No, that was not a good situation with Ja. I think they were trying to get Ja to be like the face of the league until that happened.
Oh my gosh, I totally agree with that. And then I feel they switched it to SGA. Like
maybe even potentially Anthony Edwards, but then the whole thing happened with the child and the payments, and I think that maybe they gave up on him. So yeah, I do think SGA is a good potential candidate for the face of the league, especially just winning MVP, you know?
Yeah. Anthony Edwards is like the Nick Cannon of the NBA.
What? What do you mean by that?
Man, just like all about like the child support and just popping out kids.
Anthony Edwards is Ant-Man. He's interesting. He's very very entertaining to watch.
He is, dude. I love his game.
Oh yeah, so explosive.
Very entertaining, yeah.
Wasn't there like a conspiracy theory that he might be related to Jordan?
Yes.
That's interesting.
It's almost similar to the whole fake story about if Jimmy Butler was related to Michael Jordan. Do you remember that?
You know, I know a little bit about Jimmy Butler because I like the way he plays. Plus, I believe he actually played junior college basketball for a bit too.
He did before he went to Marquette.
Yeah, so I gotta look out for my JUCO guys.
Yeah,
I wasn't aware of that. So he also might be Michael Jordan's son.
there's a possibility. There's a rumor. Supposedly, how did the story go? Is that like he never met his dad, and Michael Jordan had a secret son, supposedly the year Jimmy Butler was born. And he concealed it for all those years, paying off the woman.
Wow, that's some crazy stuff.
That's crazy.
Well, I think Anthony Edwards was smart to get all the payments done. He just did one payment. He's good for the 18 years.
He's good for the 18 years.
Yeah, he paid it all in advance, so he doesn't need to.
I saw that.
But yeah, so Sacramento Kings, I think they're going to be exciting. The only thing is they need a new gym. I've played in their gym. It is so small. That is not the type of gym that you have for a Division I school.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen it before?
I've seen it once. It was a long time ago. I went to a Sac State basketball game.
It is smaller than some high school gyms.
Really?
Yeah, it's I don't understand. They got to fix that. But everything else is looking good. They got the management, they
Yeah.
got the players. So excited for them.
Yeah. I think it would actually be kind of cool and ironic, say, like having Mike Bibby and Shaq sometimes sitting at a Kings game together. Like the camera just pans to them and it's Mike Bibby, Kings legend, sitting next to Shaq,
Lakers
Lakers
legend.
legend.
Yeah. Mike Bibby, I don't know if you've seen him lately. You probably have, but he is ripped.
Dude, he is jacked. Like, there's so many like steroid jokes going around with that viral photo that went around a few years ago.
Yeah. Do you think he would have played better for the Kings if he was ripped like he is now, or how he was when he was in basketball shape?
If we're talking just straight like basketball shape, I would say no.
Okay. Just because you feel like the strength wouldn't really help his game too much?
The strength wouldn't really help because of the position and the style of play that he played. And like you know me, like I love going to the gym, getting big. But
Yep.
like when your arms are that big, it hinders your shooting.
That's a good point. Yeah. And that's what he did. He was a shooter. So yeah, I agree with you. I
Yeah.
think that the weight gain and the being as ripped as he is impressive, but I
Yeah.
don't think it would have helped his game too much.
No, I don't think it would have. And there's some guys that are proportionately balanced with it, with the strength and still in basketball shape. One guy that I think of that was both really built but in basketball shape was Jeff Teague.
Okay. Jeff Teague is kind of like a smaller, like a point guard. So I wouldn't really think of him when I think of like really built, but
No, if you look at him, he was built.
okay.
He was built.
His sleeper build. I guess I didn't notice.
Yeah, yeah. No, the guy was ripped, but he was in basketball shape, as you should if you're in the NBA.
Unless you're Jokic, I guess.
Or yeah, or Zion.
Yeah, well, Zion, he keeps getting injured. And that's the thing. When you lose weight, it lowers the impact like on your knees, like from,
Yeah,
jumping and, with basketball, you're flying through the air all the time. So
yeah.
I think that it can be tough if you are, have so much muscle on you.
That's very true. Yeah, and like with some of these players that we're talking about, it's like the off season we see like all these body transformations, and then once the regular season starts, yeah, they're good to start the season, but then they get back into their old routines, and then what they looked like to start the season, they start to look like what they looked like to end last season.
That's a good point. I mean, it's tough when you're traveling and you're flying everywhere, city to
Yeah,
city. What do you think about this for another hot take?
yeah.
Getting rid of the multiple teams per state and having each state having a team. 50 teams.
50 teams?
50 teams. And not having multiple teams in one state. Now, it's kind of more of like a state versus state type thing. Or maybe you could keep the teams, multiple teams in a state if it's big, but there are a lot of states out there that don't have representation.
That's very true. And I think location plays a big role in that. Like trying to think of, for example, like traveling wise, I think it would be hard if you put a team in Alaska, you put a team in Hawaii.
Yeah, that's a good point. It would be hard to travel. So it'd be even tougher on the players.
Yeah. I even thought, even though they've been around for this season, will be 31 years, I think, the Toronto Raptors, even when they first became a team, once I was old enough to start thinking about it, I was like, don't know if Toronto will last as a long NBA franchise, but
They've been lasting.
they've been
They've been
lasting.
competing
Yeah.
too.
Just
And there are some good basketball players in Canada. They do really kind of focus on like hockey and the ice sports,
yeah.
but when I was at Carroll, we traveled up to Canada and we played against Calgary, Lethbridge, and there were some solid teams up there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love how basketball has become so popularized in Canada because I want to say before, say, 20 years ago, the only real known Canadian that made it to the NBA was Steve Nash.
Steve Nash was a great representative. he
Yeah,
he had a great career.
yeah, and then things really started to pop off when Andrew Wiggins entered the league.
And then who was that? There was another guy from Canada that I'm thinking of. He was like a point guard. He was pretty tall. Fairly recently, I can't remember his name.
Are you
Anyway, there's been
are
multiple
are you
players from
thinking
Canada.
are you thinking of
RJ.
S.
No. RJ Barrett.
Barrett? Yes.
Yes, he was from Canada. Maybe he wasn't a point guard, but or
No,
was
I
he a
think
point
he's
guard or a
a
shooting guard?
I think he's a mixed shooting guard, small forward.
Okay, for sure. Well, I just remembered he was from Canada. So just an example of more Canadian players in the league.
Yeah, no, that's true. And he, if I'm not mistaken, I think he plays on the Raptors now.
Maybe, yeah. But basketball's really grown. It's not like football, like American football, like,
Yeah,
the NFL, where it's just in America. Like, for example, like, on my team in Carroll, we had a guy from Serbia, we had a guy
yeah.
from Spain, we had a guy from Australia, we had a guy from Finland. So like it's very worldwide and very popular. So I don't know why the NBA is losing viewership. If it's growing throughout the world, why is the NBA losing viewership? That's what doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's a mystery to me. Like the only things that I can really think of are they say they're trying to be innovative, but all the changes that they do year by year with All-Star Weekend, like just keep it the same like how it was. Remember when it was just East versus West?
Yeah,
Like that
that
was
was a good
awesome to
thing.
see. I loved that.
Kind of made it more of a rivalry.
It really did, yeah.
But you got any other hot takes?
Like I could talk days and days about the NBA, but my gosh. So I'm wearing Sacramento Kings, but like
Yep.
you know this is an overall NBA podcast. So one of my last hot takes that I want to talk about is, man, I think, and I only say this because I saw a short clip of Charles Barkley talking about this when I was scrolling Twitter. And I agree with Charles Barkley on this, that now that now that the NBA isn't with TNT anymore, the only real cable networks that they're going to be airing NBA games on is just ESPN and ABC, but ABC and ESPN are connected. And so all the other national TV games are on streaming sites. And Charles Barkley was going on about how there's not a lot of NBA fans have streaming platforms. They don't have Peacock. They don't have Amazon Prime. They don't have I'm blanking on another streaming platform that they're going to be airing games on.
Aren't they going to put some games on Disney Plus or Hulu?
I
Didn't I see
think,
something like that?
yes, I think Hulu, but also another cable network that I totally forgot about was NBC. They're returning the NBA on NBC, which I'm really excited for. I was a big fan of when the NBA was on NBC.
Okay. What did you like about NBC?
What I really liked about that, just when I was a kid, that classic intro music. And even though I was a kid then, I really honed in on the people doing the play by play, the commentators. One guy that sticks out to me, I don't know why, but from NBA on NBC, it was Tom Tolbert.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble putting a face to a name with Tom Tolbert. What did he do that was entertaining or that got you to remember him?
So what I really liked about Tom Tolbert, besides of his look, he just really told it how it was. And then he had flair with how he would bring it. Like he was professional, but he would still bring what he brought to the table in a fun way.
Okay. I like that. Well, if we're talking about streaming sites, did you see that Stream East
I
is now
saw
being
that.
shut down? that's a big opportunity for the NBA. You know,
Yeah,
they could capture a lot more fans that were just viewing it on Stream East.
yeah, yeah. If we're gonna get
Maybe you make it cheaper.
yeah, yeah, I would say cheaper. And then there's some people that illegally stream
Yeah,
the
that
games.
that was Stream East. That was the illegal streaming, which lots of people used. I think there's even a clip of LeBron using Stream
There
East
was I
out
remember
there.
that. There was this other sketchy streaming platform that I used to watch Kings games when I was living in Monterey.
And there's probably so many people that do that.
Yeah.
And if the NBA took advantage of that and just made it more accessible,
There's great
cheaper.
profit off of that. Yeah.
Yeah, imagine all the people that come over. They could create a higher profit with a potential lower cost.
Exactly. I feel even with those platforms, they can partner up with teams themselves.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Yeah, so if you're a fan for a certain team, you get this streaming and they have all the team's games.
yeah, what I mean by that is, for example, making it more accessible and say, like, you're not on Google or whatever searching, and then you come across some sketchy platform where
Yeah.
it could give you viruses or something, like kind of like what I was doing when I was in Monterey. Monterey is outside of the Sacramento viewing, so I
So you
had
don't
to
get to see the games.
I couldn't see the game, so I had to do that. And so, like, another thing, say I'm living in, I don't know, say I'm living in Montana and I'm a fan of the New York Knicks. And yes, the Knicks are a big market team, but they're not going to be on national TV all 82 games. And say I want to watch a game, go to Stream East or one of those other platforms, and then you log in, say you have a fan account. I assume it would be subscription based.
Yeah, that would make sense. Just
Yeah.
having like some type of subscription for your specific team.
Yeah. And so, like, you're in Montana, you sign into your account, and then boom, without any choppiness, you can watch the Knicks play.
I like that. I like that a lot. And I think that would help the fans get more invested in their team, which would cause more buy in, more support, and just a better experience in the league.
Oh, 100%.
Good idea. I like that hot take.
Yeah. I didn't even have that written down. That just all came from here. So,
From Flow the Combo.
yes, I love it. All those years of watching the NBA and personal experience with it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to think if I had any more hot takes that I was kind of thinking of.
Yeah, let's
But
keep them rolling,
let me think. Let me think.
man.
Well, do you ever? Ooh, okay. I'll ask you about this.
Okay.
Okay. What do you think of the? Since we were talking about All Star Week,
Yeah.
what do you think of what happened at the WNBA's All Star Week with their "Pay Us What You Owe Us" shirts?
Know what? I've been seeing that all throughout my Twitter. And from what I've seen, it looks like it's going to be leading into a WNBA lockout.
Wow.
Yeah, there's been rumblings about that. And I actually think that would be very bad for the WNBA because the WNBA is rising, but you need consistency for a rising like that. If they take a pause on that rising, when they come back, yes, the Angel Reeses, the Caitlin Clarks, the Aja Wilson, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
I think that's her name.
Yeah. Asia, something like that.
Yeah, they'll still be there and they're great players, but if you have a break on that, the viewership, kind of like what we were just talking about the NBA. The NBA is losing viewership. Do you think the WNBA wants to have a pause and then lose all their viewership?
I think that would be very bad for them. They're finally trending in the right direction. And if
My
they took a
gosh, yeah.
pause, That would be like the Kings when they fired Mike Brown. They finally had 2 winning
Exactly.
seasons, and then boom, they fall back off.
Yeah. Like, I do agree that they should get higher pay, but they should do that. They should settle that quick.
I think a quick settlement or a quick solution would definitely be beneficial for both parties. You know,
Yeah.
the athletes get older, less time to play, the league loses the momentum.
Yeah.
I agree. I
Yeah.
don't know if they'll be able to do it, but I do think that would be the best situation.
I think that'll be very tough on the WNBA.
Yeah, because I think the WNBA already isn't generating much profit
No.
or
Because with them, like, you got to look at it like this. The NBA, they have so many outside deals with sponsorships, with brands, with stores. Like, you could walk into a Finish Line, you could walk into a Dick's Sporting Goods, you could walk into a Champs like in the mall, and you see all this NBA jerseys, NBA hats, whatever it is, NBA lanyards.
yep.
If you walk into any one of those stores, at best, you might see one, maybe two, maybe just 5 WNBA things. It could be just you see one Caitlin Clark jersey. You see
Yeah, that's a good
an
point.
LSU Angel Reese jersey. You're not seeing much WNBA merchandise in those stores that I mentioned.
It's very valid. Also, like I've gone to a lot more NBA games than WNBA games in my day. So
Yeah, very true.
that
I've only been to one WNBA game, and I don't even remember it.
same. Same. It was a long time ago. I think it was in Arco Arena before it
Yeah,
got
the
shut down.
Monarchs.
Yeah, yeah.
And I only got those tickets because I went to a Joe and Gavin basketball camp, and I think it was the last day of the camp. They gave all the campers their free Monarch tickets.
Okay. How
Yeah.
was the game?
Like I said, I don't
Don't
remember
remember.
it.
Yeah.
I don't remember it.
No worries. No worries. But yeah, I was just curious on your thoughts about that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love it. I love all these hot takes that we're talking about, getting deep too, not just surface level, but we're digging deep.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like it's pretty easy to talk about basketball. You know, two people that like basketball. You know,
Yeah.
it just kind of flows. But
Very much so. Yeah.
in terms of basketball, I know you're kind of more NBA, but how do you feel about the shape of the college basketball world right now with all these transfers, all these deals where college players are getting paid? Do you think it's positive for the game, or do you think it's negative?
I think it's positive actually, because I know years and years ago and the NCAA was trying to fix the players doing one and dones, just out their 1 year and out, and because they want to build a product as well, and now having the NIL with them getting paid through outside sponsorships, like, that's creating more of a buzz for college basketball, not just March Madness, but even the months where they're just playing their regular season.
Yeah, and that'll help the game grow even more. You know, more
Yeah.
buzz, more people watching, more people playing, and just continuing to grow.
Yeah, and I doubt the schools like this, like the academic part of the schools, but I like the transfer portal for the NCAA because it's almost like free agency in the NBA.
I guess that does kind of get you used to that. That's a good point.
Yeah. So, like,
Some of these trades in the NBA are tough. They
yeah.
just, you know,
My
hey,
gosh.
you're gone.
Yeah. And
Like
like,
Anthony Davis. He
yeah,
didn't even know the trade was going on, and he gets traded all the way over to Dallas. That's
yeah,
pretty cutthroat.
very tough. Yeah, some of the stories that you hear, like, there's some stories where players are just like vacationing, and then they hear about a trade when they're just randomly like on the beach.
I think Schroeder, he got traded to like 4 different teams in like a week or something. Do you remember
Yeah.
that?
Yes, I do.
That's tough. And he's a good player too. Like, I know he's a
Yeah.
little bit older now, but I was a big fan of him. I like the way he played.
Yeah. Dennis Schroeder, I think, is going to be very good on the Kings.
Yeah.
Speaking of players constantly moving like Dennis Schroeder did, do you remember the player Luke Ridnour?
No, I don't.
Similar to Dennis Schroeder, there was a day where he got traded to like maybe 4 or 5 different teams within like 3 days.
That's tough, especially if you have like kids. You're
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
uprooting your entire family. Now, they do
Yeah.
make a lot of money, so I don't have too much sympathy for them. It's part of the part of
Yeah.
the give
Yeah.
and take, but that is a little heartless. I don't
Yeah.
know. I like the loyalty. I like the
Me too.
players that, stay there for a while. And if you are gonna get rid of them, you have that conversation beforehand so they're not blindsided.
Of course. That's why I was a big fan of Damian Lillard coming back to Portland.
Yeah. Yeah. Damian Lillard, when I think of him, I think of Portland. I know he had a good stint with the Bucks, but I think of Portland.
Most definitely. And he's been one of my favorite players for years.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
What about him do you like so much?
I love how his offensive game isn't just focused on one thing. Where, yes, when you think of Damian Lillard, you think of him shooting logo threes and doing the Dame time celly. But if you've watched enough of Damian Lillard like I have, he's great at driving into the hoop. He's great with the three, and he's a good passer as well. Well,
Yeah, I think he's a good player.
yeah,
I
he's
agree.
not a flashy passer. He's no LaMelo Ball.
Well, you don't need to be. You really don't.
No.
Sometimes it's a little too much razzle dazzle.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I saw this YouTube video a while ago saying that like LaMelo Ball can't be a regular player. Can't be a normal player.
Has to do something extra.
It has to be something special.
It does make it tough to predict, and obviously, he's having a good career.
Yeah.
But I do think sometimes there's a little excessiveness. You don't need to go too crazy.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you, since you are such a big fan of Damian Lillard,
Yeah.
everyone thinks about that shot, Paul George on him,
Yeah.
buzzer going down, sidestep, logo 3. Here's the
Boom.
question:
Yeah.
Was that a good shot or a bad shot?
It was a good shot and a bad shot.
Okay, because Paul George swears it's a bad shot.
So like I would say to everybody else,
Okay.
the fans, even Damian Lillard's teammates, his coach, the OKC bench, Paul George, even people watching at home, to them, that's a bad shot. But to Damian Lillard, because he's done it so much in practice and then he puts it into the game, to him, that's a good shot.
Okay, I like that. That's kind of similar to Steve Kerr with Curry. For certain people, it's a bad shot, but for Curry, it's a good shot.
Yeah.
For Damian Lillard, it's a good shot. I like that.
Yeah. I jumped out my seat when that shot went in.
It was a crazy shot.
It was a crazy shot.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. I was like, whoa.
You know what was a crazy shot that I jumped out of my seat for? Kawhi Leonard, when he drove baseline.
Yeah.
Bouncing on the rim, goes in for the buzzer beater.
Yeah.
That was a crazy shot. I remember that. I jumped out of my seat.
Yeah. Now whenever I'm playing ball and the ball bounces a few times and then goes in, I always call it, you got the Kawhi bounce.
I saw this this thing at the FaZe house. FaZe Adapt was with this little kid.
Yeah.
This little kid, he was talking to him, and FaZe Adapt was asking him like, "Hey, like when you shoot a shot, do you say anything? You say like a player's name or anything?"
Yeah.
And the kid said Kobe.
Oh.
Yeah, Then Kobe's wife reposted it, and because
Yeah.
Faith Zap was like, "Oh, it's still Kobe." Yes, I thought it might have changed.
Yeah.
I hope it stays Kobe for a while because Kobe had such a great legacy, and it was
Yeah.
really tragic what did happen to him.
Very,
I feel
very,
bad for his
very
family.
tragic. Yeah. Yeah. I said this on my previous episode that growing up a Kings fan, yeah, I was kind of like almost basketball raised to hate Kobe Bryant. But
Yeah,
the last few years of his career and even outside of his once he retired, I grew a great appreciation for him. And so
yeah,
like
definitely,
so like even for me when I got that news, like it got me. I was like, "Oh man."
definitely.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I also was not a fan of him, or rooting against him. But
Yeah,
once
of
that kind of
course.
stopped, and you can really, when they're not your enemy, you can appreciate all that they did do.
Of course.
But
Yeah.
speaking about Kings, there was a point where people were saying Fredette when they'd shoot the shot, Jimmer,
Oh
but
my
that did
gosh.
kind of die out.
Yeah, yeah. No, Jimmer, a great college player, but it didn't pan out in the NBA.
Yeah. Do you think there's a certain reason for that?
If I'm looking back on it, I would say height
Okay. Yeah.
because, yeah, he was a shorter player. And yeah, Steph Curry is kind of on the shorter side, but he's made it work
How
because
tall is Jimmer? Do you remember?
Jimmer, I think, was just barely 6'2".
Okay. So yeah, Steph Curry I think is about like 6'2", 6'3", so about the same height.
About the same height, but kind of like what we were talking about earlier, Jimmer was built.
Okay. So maybe a little bit slower.
Yeah. And then I, so when it comes to memory, I have a great memory. And I remember this one Jimmer Fredette memory from the preseason because remember his draft was that lockout year where they only played 66 games. And so when they returned, they did have a preseason, but it was only 2 games, and the Kings played the Warriors in the preseason. And I want to say it was either the first preseason game or the second. Jimmer Fredette went, I think he made all of his shots. He went four for four, and then he was so hesitant to shoot another shot because he was
Why?
it seemed like he was afraid of missing, like he wanted to stay perfect.
Oh, that's not good at all.
That is not good at all.
You gotta keep the hot hand going.
Yeah, you gotta,
That's a horrible attitude.
I know, you gotta have that shooter's mentality. And I remember that's something I pointed that out, and even my big brother pointed that out too.
That is like when the players don't want to shoot a half court shot at the end of the quarter or
Yeah,
halftime or whatever because they don't want to mess up their shooting percentage.
exactly. Yeah.
You're trying to win the game. Take the shot, try and score the points. Don't intentionally shoot it after the buzzer goes off.
Yeah. A great example of shooter's mentality with that, how you mentioned half court shots. Remember when Jeremy Lamb hit that buzzer beating half court shot against the Raptors when he was on the Hornets?
That's a good point. If you don't shoot it, it's not going in. So
Yeah.
you just you let it fly sometimes.
Yeah. So I think that hindered Jimmer's career big time.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, there's been a lot of things coming out about, and I haven't seen anything about Jimmer for this, but I've seen
Yeah.
different players having gambling
Yeah.
allegations. That kind of hindered a lot of careers for some people, especially the big allegations about maybe the ref gambling.
Yep.
Lakers versus Kings, that big fiasco.
Yep. Tim Donaghy.
Yep.
Even he's still reffing, but even Scott Foster was in the mix of that.
Oh, and Scott's okay. That's a good point.
Yeah. Who else? He wasn't a big time player because he was still young, but Michael Porter Jr.'s brother, Jonte Porter, remember that whole story? He got caught up in gambling, and then the NBA basically ban him from the NBA.
I mean, either way, I don't support it, but I understand a little bit more why the refs would do it.
Yeah,
The
no,
refs
I
don't
get
make
it.
as much money as the players. And so maybe they're trying to do some stuff. I don't support either way,
Yeah.
but I really don't understand why players get involved in it. They're already making so much money. It's just like, why would you put that in jeopardy?
Yeah, no, I don't get that either because I don't know. They could be helping themselves, or the only logical reason I can think of is maybe they have a buddy of theirs that bet on the game and they want to help their buddy. But if it's for themselves, what's it really to them? They're making, like you said, they're making millions of dollars.
If you want to help your buddy out, give him a gift.
Give
Don't
them a gift.
jeopardize your career.
Of course, yeah. My gosh, yeah. Yeah. What do you think the NBA is going to look like in the next, I would say, 5 years?
Years. Okay. What do I think it'll look like? I think that as the game evolves, they're going to be spacing the floor even more, shooting even further back. I feel like the range just keeps extending.
Yeah.
Also, something that keeps extending is the amount of steps you can take.
My God.
I feel like they just continue to be able to take more steps.
Yeah.
So everything's just going to keep expanding. You're going to shoot from further. You're going to take more steps,
Yeah.
not get called for travel. And they're just going to try and make it more exciting.
Yeah, I'm all for the excitement, but yeah, kind of the bending the rules I'm not for, because
Same.
like the traveling thing, like I get the gather step, but I've never been a fan of that gather step. Growing up, I've always been taught just 2 steps and that's it.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And like I've done a little bit of coaching kids a little bit.
Yeah, same.
Also done some training, and they don't understand it. They just see it. They think they're doing it right, and they're traveling almost all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like you got to try and instill that in them. But then when they're seeing this other stuff, which is it's very, very fine tuned at that level, like
Yeah.
the pros when they're doing it, it's just, I don't know. I just don't think it's translating well to the kids. And then it just gets stretched and stretched and stretched.
Most definitely, yeah. No, it does. It does. And I feel for future players that want to make the pros, it starts with the fundamentals. You can't go into all this new NBA basketball stuff. You need to start with the fundamentals. That's where it's at.
Definitely. 100% agree. The fundamentals are key. You need that base.
Yeah.
Kind of like Bruce Lee. I fear not a man that has practiced 1,000 kicks, but a man that has practiced one kick 1,000 times.
Yep. And it's been a minute since I've heard that saying.
It's it's a good saying. You got to practice those fundamentals. Practice them locked in, just like it's second nature. You can do it in your sleep.
Exactly. And if you want to take the reins on here, similar to what you were talking about, I feel that leads great into our encouragement for this week's episode about just having that perseverance.
Okay, yeah, no, I like that because we were talking about that before, just like how you're persevering and you're continuing to put out the episodes, and lots of podcasts they don't make it because people give up. So testament to you, and just continuing to put episodes out, putting content out, and just doing what you love, talking about what you love. I want you to know that like it doesn't go unnoticed. Like I see you putting in the work.
I appreciate that, bro. Like for real.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I appreciate you hopping on.
Of course. No, yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, definitely. It's already been over an hour, so yeah, time just kind of flies. But Alex, well, thanks for having me on again, and I will talk to you soon.
Yeah, you want to stay on for my sign off real quick?
Of course. Yeah, let's hear the sign off.
I love it. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the Seventh Man Up podcast. And as always, stay up with them threes up. Love, joy, and peace. See ya.